Hello, everyone. This is Bomani Ihasham Bey coming before you. Remember to like and subscribe to Sean Bey's Inspiration uh, when you have a chance, if you like what you hear. Today, I wanted to speak on the, the Bible and the plagiarism and the different stories that we grew up trying to follow and trying to understand and finding out they're not real stories, they're allegories. They're not history, but they're his story. It was made up. They was plagiarized. They was taken from the walls of Kemet, from Egypt, from the melanated people like myself, from my ancestors, and plagiarized and made into something now that we try to follow the wrong teachings and we don't realize they all are allegories and made up stories that are inspiration, but they're not a history book that we might act like that it is. First, I like to go off a couple stories that I kind of compared or that I kind of seemed similar in ways. These different stories. The first one, the creation story that was in in the Bible, in Genesis, the first chapter and the 26th, I think through the 27th, where it talks about the creation. And then I go and read about some things, the creation story in Kemet, where it talks about the creation of man and the making of man by Khnum, the potter. They have a picture of him sitting there making a man out of clay. This was done back in 7500 BC or 7500 BC. These stories was already written before you even think about the Bible was written. And then we go down to after that one. I compared the story of Adam and Eve to the ancient story of uh, Inki and Minty. Inki is spelled Inki, and Ninti is spelled Ninti. And this story was written back in or on the walls of Kemet in 6000 BC. And the story goes as Enki ate of the fruit, just like they said that Adam ate of the fruit that his wife or the one from his rib gave it to Adam. Adam ate, just like the story goes. But it goes as not Eve giving him anything. It just says that Enki, the story, Enki ate of the fruit that was forbidden. This fruit was forbidden and made him terminally ill, just like it talks about in that what Eve done. She ate of the fruit. She gave him the fruit from the tree of knowledge. She was a snake or the devil tempted her and told her to eat of this fruit. It's all allegory, but I'm comparing these two stories. And remember, these stories these stories are already written. You got proof of these stories. I don't have proof of Adam and Eve ever existed in life. And if they did, they would not, if they existed today, if you compare them to the Sphinx, Adam would be about 7,000 years old. The Sphinx is over 10,000 years old by itself, let alone the other creation or the other things that's already there in Egypt. But we have to learn these things, and I don't blame my parents, I don't blame my family, I don't blame anybody for teaching me this. You know, I'm glad they taught me the story of Adam and Eve, but I'm glad I've been taught that so I can wake up to the truth. Now the story goes, he got terminally ill. Inky got terminally ill, and then the gods sent a woman See, in Adam and Eve, see how the woman seemed like has to be the villain, just like the Bible always kind of make the woman the villain. They only had a couple, like the Ruths and all the thing that was okay, but a lot of times women got blamed for everything that's going on. If it wasn't for that woman, then the way that we treat women as men, as society, a lot of times, you know. And this is National Women's Month, and I didn't know. I was just surprised that they didn't have it until the 1987 in the 1980s. That's ridiculous. We can't without women. We wouldn't even be able to be alive. They had us. They have everything. You know. They should. They're goddess, but we don't give them enough respect. You know. So that's another story as well. But they sent Ninti. Ninti, which means the word Ninti. Remember, I spelled it for you. I'll spell it again. Ninti. Ninti, which means the woman of the rib. And sent her and to help Ninti, and Ninti was healed from his sickness or his illness because of the woman that came and gave her the medicine. So remember, there's more to our story than what everyone else or what the Bible or religions, and not just talking about just one religion, all religions. We need to look at all religions, not just one religion. Look at all of them and move them out the way and try to learn to cipher on what is right and what is correct and do your research. Don't let no one lead you any other way but to the truth. And then we can talk about the story of Cain and Abel. That I compare that to Seth and the Sar and the brothers that are fighting, and you know the story or somewhat of the story of Sar, and Seth was jealous of Sar and end up killing him, putting him in the box, sent him out to sea, locked him in the box. He ended up landing on an island. So his wife, what happened was the people went out searching for him, for Sarah's body, and they smelt a great fragrance. They smelled a great fragrance. So they ended up returning back and went to tell his wife, which is Isis, went back and told his wife that they smelled something that had to be a Sar. So she ended up going to try to find his body because they could smell it. The wind, the from the plants and everything hit her nose and said, that's my husband. Which we don't give credit to women. Women got that intuition. Women has that in them more than men do. You know. But that's one of the stories that I just wanted to talk about, far as Cain and Abel, the story of Asar and Set, who tried to kill his brother, and killed him twice actually. Sent him over there, and then end up cutting his body into 14 pieces. As the story goes, these are all stories. And now I want to go to the other story, the story of Noah's Ark. You know the story of Noah's Ark. He put every animal in there. He's the one that helped civilization to survive, pretty much. Now, I believe it's allegory. Now let's compare that story to the story of I can't say his name. His name is let me
Unapishtim.
Unapiston. Unapiston. Unapiston is a wise and Samaritan king who, along with his wife, survived the great flood. Now, this is another story. Now, Unapiston is spelled, let me spell it for you, Utnapishtim. Unapiston. Look it up. You don't take my word for it. The same story. All right. So what happened was the flood started, was on its way, and the it was sent by Ellen. Ellen must have been something or evil words or some sort. And what happened was it was sent by them, but they was warned. They was warned by Ella, the god Ella. It was warned them and told them to build a boat or to build an ark of some sort. So they end up building a boat or an ark of some sort and put his family and his representatives of every species and every species that was put on there, just like the story goes of Noah's Ark. But once they got out to the water, just like Noah's Ark, so first they sent the um, the dove. The dove returned, couldn't find nowhere to sit. Then they sent the swallow, but he couldn't find anywhere to sit or to perch. Then for the third time they sent out a raven. The raven found somewhere. They know they found land, and the story goes just like that. But the only difference is they made a libations, which we always should do to our ancestors, libations to the god uh, El, El, give him some libations. And where they end up locating was, or landing, was on the Mount Sinai. So that is a story to look into as well and compare that to Noah's story. Then we got the story of Moses. And these are all things that have been made up. So go look at Thutmoses. Thutmoses was a pharaoh, and read the story about him and kind of compare them to. There is no record of any kind of exodus about the Egypt's exodus from or leaving Egypt. Now, but you can look at the story of the Hyksos being drowned, and you can and were invaders of the European descent. You can read about that story. Okay, and there's nothing about we drowned in the Red Sea or anything like that. Then you can read about this. Compare the golden calf that's in Exodus 32:24 through 35, and compare that to then that they're talking about the golden calf right there. That's they talk about in the Bible. The golden calf, as far as with Moses and the golden calf, is supposed to be what they was looking at. But then you can compare that to the god Hathor. Compare that one. Compare the Art of the Covenant, which was in Joshua the third chapter, 9 through 11. Compare that to the Art of Ra, and that's what it's supposed to be. But like I said, when Europeans get it, they fabricate it, they lie, they manipulate just to get what they want, to get it the way they want it to be. And then there's a couple more here. Let's look at that's in Malachi, the Son of Righteousness, and it says in the Malachi 4:2, but unto you that create my name shall the Son, S-U-N, of righteousness arise with healing in his wings. All right. Then you look at the temple of Hathor, the sun disk and the wings. So that's what they stole off the walls of Kemet over in Egypt. That's our things. Them are our things that they stole. Then we can talk about definitely the virgin birth. Then you can blame that. You can compare that to Set in a Ru, Set in a Sar, with the having the virgin birth and had a rule. A rule is supposed to be Jesus, but they turned it all around. They made a fabrication about it, but we will go more into that at a later time. But I just want to show you that a lot of these concepts are stolen and made up and fabricated. So compare them and you make your decision. Remember, think with your intuition, not your intellect. Answer your own questions. So I thank you for the opportunity. I hope you understood some of the things. And hey, if any questions you have, just let me know. I'll do my best to answer them. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. This is Bomani, Iha Shambay's inspiration, trying to inspire you today. Thank you for letting me vent to you and for you being my therapy. Thank you. Ashe.